In Tanzania's Serengeti Game Reserve, where golden grasslands stretch beneath a relentless sun, Mr. Joseph McCond was a legend. For over 50 years, from his youth to his gray-haired days, he served as a ranger, safeguarding the reserve's wildlife from poachers. Elephants, lions, giraffes, zebras, and rhinos thrived under his care, especially the elderly animals he tended in the sanctuary's safe haven. Even after retirement, McCand volunteered daily, patrolling in his battered Jeep, his deep knowledge guiding younger rangers like Elijah and Musa. To the Serengeti's people, he was more than a ranger. He was a symbol of perseverance and compassion. On a sweltering morning in April 2025, with temperatures climbing toward 45 degrees Celsius, the air shimmered over the dry plains. Animals sought shade beneath acacia trees, but McCand was undeterred. The day before, a rhino had been wounded by a stray trap, and he needed to check its condition. "Patience, Elijah," he'd told his young colleague years ago, freeing a trapped lion cub as the pride roared nearby. "They trust us if we trust them." That lesson echoed in Elijah's mind as he watched McCand's Jeep rumble toward the bushy recovery area. Dust swirled around the Jeep as it rolled along the rough track. Heat poured into the open cabin, beating sweat on McCand's brow. At the sight, he parked and stepped out, his eyes scanning the horizon. The rhino stood in the distance, its long wound still raw, its massive frame weakened. McCand approached slowly, his gaze soft with worry. "Hold on, old friend," he murmured, noting the rhino's labored breathing. Suddenly, a sharp pain gripped his chest. It spread like fire, stealing his breath. Dizzy, he sank to his knees in the brittle grass, his face pale. Elijah and Musa, tending zebras nearby, heard his faint call. They sprinted over, finding McCand crumpled, his hands clutching his shirt. "Musa, his pills!" Elijah shouted, checking McCand's pulse. It was erratic. Musa fumbled through McCand's pockets but found nothing. Perhaps in his haste, the old man had forgotten his heart medication. Elijah radioed the reserve's medical center, his voice urgent. "We need an ambulance now." Staff dropped their tasks, converging to help. A special vehicle sped across the plains, carrying McCand to the reserve's medical room. Elijah gripped his mentor's hand, whispering, "Stay with us, Joseph." But McCand's eyes fluttered shut, his breathing shallow. At the medical room, doctors fought to save him, their defibrillator humming in the tense silence. After 15 agonizing minutes, a doctor shook his head. His heart stopped. We couldn't bring him back. Grief swept the room like a dry wind. The Serengeti had lost its pillar. News of McCand's death spread, leaving staff and family in stunned sorrow. Per his wishes, the funeral would be held at the reserve, rooted in indigenous traditions. At dawn the next morning, as the sun peeked over the horizon, the community gathered in the sanctuary's central courtyard. McCand's body rested on a simple wooden bed, his face calm, as if asleep. Elijah stood beside him, his hand trembling as he touched McCand's calloused fingers. "You taught me everything," he whispered. Musa lit an incense stick, its smoke curling skyward as he prayed softly. A low roar shattered the silence. Heads turned toward the courtyard's gate, where a massive male lion approached, its scarred side glinting in the light. Fear rippled through the crowd. Some backed away, clutching tools for protection. The lion's golden eyes locked on the wooden bed. It moved forward, unhurried, its growl deep but not threatening. Elijah froze, then recognized the scar. "It's him," he breathed. 15 years ago, he and McCand had freed this lion from a poacher's trap, bandaging its wounds and nursing it back to health. Released to the wild, it had lingered near the reserve, a silent guardian. The lion circled the bed, then paused at its foot, bowing its head as if in reverence. The crowd stood transfixed, fear giving way to awe. This was no ordinary beast, but one bound to McCand by gratitude. Elijah stepped closer, his voice steady. "He's saying goodbye." The lion's eyes met his, calm and knowing, before it let out a mournful roar that echoed across the plains. Tears stung Musa's eyes. "He remembers," Musa said, "after all these years." The ceremony continued, the lion's presence a sacred witness. When it ended, the group carried McCand's body to a grassy field he'd loved, shaded by a sprawling baobab. The lion followed, its steps slow, its roars heavy with loss. they dug a quiet grave, lowering McCann into the earth. Elijah and Musa placed a stone at the head, engraved with his name and 50 years of service. The community prayed, their voices blending with the wind, wishing his soul peace. The lion lingered by the grave, its head bowed, until the sun dipped low, painting the sky crimson. As the group dispersed, it roared once more, a heartbreaking cry that carried McCann's spirit across the Serengeti. In the days that followed, the reserve paused its bustle to mourn. Staff and locals visited the grave, leaving wild flowers and whispered prayers. Sometimes they glimpsed the lion returning, sitting silently by the stone, as if honoring the man who gave it life. Elijah and Musa carried on McCann's work, their patrols fueled by his dream of preserving the wild. His story, woven with the lion's loyalty, became a Serengeti legend, whispered around campfires and etched into the land he protected. Under the vast sky, where rhinos roamed and lions roared, Joseph McCann's legacy lived on, forever bound to the heart of the wilderness.